Hi, writers. Today we're going to talk about not leaving your readers in the dark when you're writing your scenes. For example, sometimes when I'm over holiday break, I will be spending some time at other families' houses, staying overnight in a different room, a guest room that I'm not familiar with. Usually, when that happens, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm very disoriented and I'm looking around and it takes me a few seconds to realize, oh, I'm at my mother's house or I'm at my brother's house. I want you to have that same memory and think, okay, when you're thinking that way, you're not in your right mind. When your readers are thinking that way, when they're reading one of your stories and they're thinking, where am I? What's going on here? You as writers have a chance to fix that and make sure that your readers are along for the ride and knowing what's happening and where they're going. You want to turn the lights on for your readers. Now, we all know what makes up a scene. I had you guys write down um, last week what happens in a scene. First, they're small moments or mini stories. You include a clear setting that is woven throughout the moment. You have characters who are thinking, talking, acting, or all of those things. And they contain a character motivation or maybe some kind of obstacle of some sort that also creates tension, which you've written before. If you haven't already written the notes for today on transitional phrases and added those to your notebook, pause the video to do that now. All right. Now let's get into our thought of making sure your readers are not in the dark when they're reading. Here's an example from a student in the past. This is something they started with. I was so embarrassed. I didn't know what to say. Just apologize, she said. I'm sorry, I said. You're forgiven. Let's go get a slice, she said. As I'm reading that, there's some really great things in there where it's showing that there's some conflicts between them, but in the end it changes. It's a very quick story, but I'm very confused as to what's going on. So I talked to the student. I said, you need to shine the light on what's happening in your story. You can't just have the dialogue. You need to have their thoughts and feelings along with it. After the student thought about that for a while, they had added something to turn the lights on. We need to know what they're feeling. So here is his revised version of the story. All right. There we go. I was so embarrassed I didn't know what to say. I kicked a pile of leaves that had gathered at the base of one of the trees on Bergen Street. My face felt like it was so hot it would melt. A breeze whooshed and leaves danced on the sidewalk. Just apologize, she said. She pulled her collar tighter and buttoned the top button. I snuck a glance at her face. She was biting her bottom lip. I knew it was hard for her to apologize. I'm going to pause right there. Notice how they added some feelings and the narrator's interpretation of her feelings based on what she's doing. That's showing and not telling. That's something we learned earlier this week. Show your readers what's happening. All right, continue. My stomach growled. I snuck another peek at her, and now she was stomping leaves in the cool October sidewalk. My heart pounded. What if I apologized and she didn't forgive me? Now they're showing some feeling of the narrator. What if I didn't? What if I didn't and she never spoke to me again? I'm sorry, I said. Right here, they showed a decision by the character. They could have either apologized or not apologized. Showing decision making in your writing leads to good storytelling. She turned her head and smiled. You're forgiven. Let's go eat a slice, she said. She pointed to the pizza shop down the road. I raced ahead, stomach still growling, so I could hold the door. That's a great example of how they revise their writing to make sure they're showing the readers the feelings and the actions that are happening behind the scenes of the dialogue. Don't just write a bunch of dialogue in your writing without showing those feelings. Now, today, you are going to continue writing your story, and I'm just adding to this list as we go this week. You can draft out of order. You don't have to write it all in one scene. You're drafting it in your writer's notebook, and then we'll be typing it into the computer. So you'll be able to put those puzzle pieces together later. If they're all over the place, sometimes that's better, and then you piece them together and you find out what works the best. Then draft in 3D. Make sure you're writing with evidence. Don't just show, don't just tell, show. Put yourself in the character's shoes and ground your character in the scenes. That's what we're doing today. Grounding the character, turning the light on for your reader. Tomorrow, that's Friday, you are going to get a chance to read from one of your scenes to the class. This is going to be a fun activity. I want you guys to just highlight your favorite part of what you've written so far. And everybody's going to get a chance to do it. If you don't do it, you get 0 points. So make sure that you are here tomorrow. If you're not, then you'll have to come back next week and do it, or not next week, after the break, and finish it to get those 20 points. And you aren't graded on this. It's just all or none. Either you do it or you don't. As always, raise your hand with any questions. Good luck. Get lots of writing in today, and we'll talk to you later.